Damn.
Hey, we're recording the podcast. Shut up.
Good morning to you wherever you are, because it is Morning Somewhere for January 26, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns. With me, sitting right over there, bushy-eyed, bushy-tailed? Bushy-tailed.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Bright-tailed and bushy-eyed.
Bushy-eyed. What's up? Been a while since I trimmed the old eyes.
Can I ask you a question right out of the gate?
Yeah, maybe.
So at the bottom of the iPhone,
Yeah.
there's a quick bar, so that when you go to other pages of apps, the quick bar always has your 4 most important apps.
Yes. Okay.
Does
it's like pinned apps, right?
Yeah, like
Essentially.
it's like the bottom. It's the little quick bar.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't know what I'm talking about
No,
off the top
I do.
of your head?
I do. I'm looking at it.
Because that'll make my next
I just
question.
mean, like, even if you go like to the second page of apps, your I guess quick bar is pinned. Like those ones don't rotate.
I made
off.
up the term quick bar.
Yes,
I have to admit.
I know.
What's it called, do you think?
iBar. Who knows?
Super bar. Do you remember Super Bar at the Wendy's?
Real cool bar.
Do you remember Super Bar at Wendy's in the 90s?
No. What was the
Oh, it
super
was
bar?
fucking incredible.
I remember
Every Wendy's had like a salad bar that also had like a chili bar and a baked potato bar. And then there was always a gigantic bowl of pudding.
What? No, I don't. Clearly, you and I went to different Wendy's. I remember Wendy's very clearly because
Straight
I
into
had to go.
like right into tangents. Start the car, put it in drive, immediately 90 degrees to the right. Go ahead.
Look, I'm feeling bushy-eyed. Let me have this. But I remember once when I was little, I was like running around being an idiot, and I stepped on a nail. Had to go in urgent care, and afterwards, we went to Wendy's.
Good Lord.
And I got a Frosty, and everything was right in the world again.
Do you know there are places in the world where they serve vanilla Frosties? What? That's like a thing. Yeah, they're not just chocolate. They have vanilla Frosties as well.
That's not possible.
I agree. Also, what is that made out of? Because it's basically, you chew it. It's kind of like gum.
It's a really unique texture. And it's not just a milkshake. It's thicker than a milkshake. But it's not ice cream. It's not quite ice cream stiffness. So I don't know. It's actually been a really long time since I had one, and now I'm kind of craving Wendy's.
Super Bar will put up a commercial
Get some of that.
in the link dump.
Get some of the chili made out of day old hamburger.
Super Bar was an all-you-can-eat offering at Wendy's that had all the things I talked about. Plus, I forgot this. It was all you can eat, and it was $2.99.
No way.
That makes me feel like I'm 1,000 years old.
What would that be with inflation?
I don't know. I can get an inflation calculator.
Would that be like $20?
Also, just inflation calculators, have they kept up with the last couple of years anyway?
I don't know. I think they might have broke like the whole 2038 problem. I think that it may be just like it's gone up too much, too fast, and they just can't keep up. The numbers got too big.
If you're gonna ask me about math, I've got to do the math. I have to. I have to do the math.
Okay, well now I've found your weakness.
Oh, you know what the problem is though? I'm looking at this and I'm being betrayed by my geography, because I look up inflation calculator and it says, "Oh, here's all these UK ones." Like, who the hell wants that?
The UK doesn't have inflation.
All right, so if I'm
sorry,
going
UK,
back,
I know that there is.
we're going back to 1989. If in 1989 I purchased an item or all the items that I could eat for $2.99, then in 2024, that would cost $7.35. No way. No way.
There's no way that would have stayed the same.
Cumulative rate of inflation, 145%. Whoa. Do you know that? Here's another fact. Did you know what was the primary purchaser of kale? Who was the primary purchaser of kale before the kale craze?
This I know.
Kale is the super chewy, protein packed somehow. It's cabbage.
It's like really like dark leafy lettuce. Very trendy in salads at the moment.
You can roast
it's
it.
really it's amazing. If you chop it up and coat it in a bit of olive oil, not too much, it'll go mushy. Olive oil, salt, pepper. Spread it in a roasting pan, and then like broil it. Oh man, that's good stuff.
And it's all you can eat for only $185. So that's the best part.
But no, I know the answer to this, and it's Pizza Hut. And it's not because you ate it, it's because they decorated their salad bars with it.
Pizza Hut used to be one of the largest kale purchasers. They would use it as the decorative lettuce in their salad bars. And that was one of the primary uses of kale in America.
They made it so pretty.
You know, I feel like, though, that kind of happens with foods on a regular basis. Like, a food will appear kind of out of nowhere. And it might be just this thing that's happening with climate change where we're just like, okay, this is acceptable as food. I never heard of the fish tilapia when I was a kid.
I think it's because they renamed it.
From what? Carp or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. Like
something that you would never eat, so they gave it a name that means an edible version of it?
I'm going to look this up, but I want to say tilapia was renamed to be, sound more delicious.
For some reason, I don't know why, I got super into etymology, which is the origin of words. I took a Latin and Greek elements of English class, and I have been hooked on etymology ever since. It probably goes back further than that because I was in medical terminology contest when I was in high school. That's right, ladies.
Ooh.
I actually went to the state tournament in medical terminology. Did you even know there was a state tournament in medical terminology?
No. Is that like the spelling bee for like super nerds?
Kind of. Yeah, kind of. It was an organization called HOSA, which was the Health Occupations Students of America. So I was in that because I was definitely going to be a doctor. I was going to be a doctor my whole life, right up until college.
Right up until you found computers.
Right up until I found a corona in college. That's when my medical career came to a crashing halt.
I'm clearly thinking of some different type of fish because the internet is failing me here. Even the faithful chatbots that I can rely on to get it wrong and tell me what I want to hear instead of what's true can't tell me. So I have
well, like
no
when
idea.
I was a kid, fish and chips was what fish?
Cod?
It was all cod, and now it's not. Now it's haddock.
Right. Well, that's because isn't cod basically slated to go
That's what I'm saying.
extinct?
Yeah.
So it's been like overfished
now we're
or something.
all
So
in
now
on
we're all
haddock.
in on haddock.
Yeah.
Can I be honest with you?
Load me up with haddock.
Once you batter and deep fry that shit, I don't taste the difference.
So there's a thing in Scotland that we should probably, I don't think we've ever mentioned this before. They have a lot of chippies, which are every little town. And
Basically, take any type of food, take a normal food, batter it, deep fry it, and then you'll find it at a chippy.
now, when she says every kind of food, she means every kind of food.
Pizza.
So pizza's on the list. Cheeseburgers can be battered and deep fried at a chippy.
They have one of my favorite dishes in the world. It's so ridiculously chippy. And you know what it is? It's a chip buddy. You know what it is? It's a fry sandwich. It's literally fries.
French fries
French fries
on bread.
in a sandwich.
Basically,
and here's
you have
the
to be
worst
stoned
part.
all the time to run one of these places.
But here's the worst part. We've ordered some of these things before to go, ha, 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 ha. Can you believe that? And then we ate them and went, ha, oh no.
Have you had a chip buddy yet?
I have not had a chip buddy yet because here's the thing. I had the deep fried pizza.
Yes.
And I figured I should
Yes.
stop there because guess what? Deep fried pizza, that's really good.
It's basically like a deep fried freezer pizza, like a Totino's pizza. And then they batter and deep fry that. And you're like, I'm about to eat a deep fried pizza. Isn't this hilarious? And then you take a bite.
And then you go, oh no, I am about to eat a whole deep fried pizza.
I've made a terrible mistake.
And like I can feel the cholesterol like oozing through my veins already. And I'm not going to stop.
It even goes when you bite it, goes
Squish.
squish. But it's incredibly delicious. Incredibly delicious. Yeah. So the other weird thing about Scotland is there really is one of these chippies in every town. The interesting thing about this part of the world is it just evolved over time. Like this place was completely populated hundreds of years ago. So everywhere is about as far as you can go on a horse in a day. But that means in a car, every town is about 10 minutes away from every other town. Like if you drive for an hour, you're going to pass through 5 or 6 towns.
Yes.
They
And
don't really say villages here. They say villages other places, but I don't really hear village that often.
I don't know. I have a couple of like, I feel like they're size based. So the little teeny tiny ones, a couple hundred people, whatever, maybe 1,000 people, you got a village. You got, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 people, you got a town.
Yeah.
And then, but it takes.
And they all have a distillery
every single one.
for whiskey.
And then you would have to hit, I don't know. What would you have to hit? Maybe 100,000 to be a city?
Oh, 100,000 here? I mean,
I guess there's
no.
only I think it's
What do you think the population of Inverness is?
oh god, I wouldn't begin to know. 200,000?
56,000
No
people.
way.
I'll look it up and make sure. But yeah, Inverness is 50. There's an airport there. It's like one of the only airports in northern Scotland if
Yeah.
you're flying in here.
Lovely city, by the way.
According
Love
to
Inverness.
Wikipedia, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, the population of Inverness is 47,790.
Wow, okay.
The urban area, the greater Inverness Metroplex, has 63,700 people in it.
Well, that's really taking it up a notch.
There you go.
I wonder if
Yeah.
that includes the cheese farm we like.
Oh yeah, that's the. We're totally in the weeds now.
This
on
is sorry.
Scotland.
I think this is just a podcast about Scotland now.
The cheese farm you're talking about that we like to go to. There's a really cool thing in northern Scotland where they have honesty boxes. You can actually go to. Oh, I'll link it in the link dump. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's an Instagram account that documents all different honesty boxes around Scotland. And they're basically just boxes on the side of the road that say, hey, we made a bunch of pies. Here they're laying out. You can come to this little hut and just put in a pound or whatever, 2 pounds, and take away eggs or pie or milk, whatever they had extra of on their farm. It's incredible. And then some people have taken that on a more entrepreneurial level, and they have these farm stores that are completely automated. They're like,
Like automats, like you
like
see
an
in
automat.
the Loki TV show, their cafeteria, and they just have like all the boxes with the food in them, and you just open the box and you get out the
like
food.
lockers.
Yes, like
Yeah.
lockers. They have those, but for farm stuff. And
I feel like automats were like the thinnest sliver of time, like in the 50s. Like they had automats for like 6 months and then never again.
until they came to Scotland. Actually, for all we know, they're in a lot of rural areas, but we like in the US, but we're not rural.
Yeah. Remember in the
we're not rural jurors.
in the airports all over the world when you used to be able to pay 50 cents and get a locker where you could just lock stuff in the airport?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Let's just throw a bag, store it in the airport, and just walk away from it. But anyway, one of the places we like, a farm store, it's a cheesemonger, and they have fresh dairy. Like you can literally like see the cow that you got your milk from, and you bring a glass bottle and you put it in this machine. We're gonna have to go film this now so we'll put it on the social, right? We'll do it at some point in the future. And you go and you get like the freshest milk you'll ever have. And then they have like a billion different like little syrups you can put in it, which by the way, they also call a milkshake. Here, a milkshake is flavored milk.
I think it's because you put the flavor in it and then you shake it.
I think it makes more sense. Honestly, it makes way more sense than the American milkshake word.
Yeah, but then they also work with a lot of like local produce producers, and like they'll have like honey stuff. They'll have eggs. They'll have kale. They'll have like potatoes, whatever.
Jams,
lots of jams,
scones.
chutneys.
Is it scones or scones? I say scones.
It depends on your pronunciation.
Anyway, the name of this place in particular is Connage, which is Connage if you're from America,
or connage.
or Connage if you're
know what,
from
though?
northern Scotland.
We've actually learned, we've been corrected on a lot of our pronunciations because for Scotch whiskeys in particular, things that like we've learned just being around, because everyone's like, no, it's not Glenfiddich. Don't ever say that again. It's Glenfiddich.
It happens all the time. Whenever you order also you don't call it Scotch here. The first time we went to a restaurant here, I asked for their Scotch menu, and she said, I think she was taking the piss. She goes, "You want a menu in Scotch? You want it in Gaelic?
You want it in
Gaelic?
Scots?
It's not even Gaelic. It's Gaelic.
It's Scots Gaelic.
Yeah. Anyway, while we're on the topic of Apple, is there anybody in the world that doesn't have their phone icon in the bottom in the quick bar? Is there any lunatic that doesn't have that? Do you have the phone function in there?
Let's see. I don't.
That's insane to me.
No, I don't. I have mail, browser, photo, camera.
Photo and camera.
Photos. Yeah, because
You sound very irresponsible. I have, ma'am, phone, email, browser, calendar.
Okay.
Because I'm a professional.
I was going to say, can I ask you a question? Do you make phone calls?
I receive phone calls.
Okay.
And yes, I make phone calls.
Do you answer phone calls?
Yeah, it turns out I'm married to someone who even at her age, as a fully formed adult, is like, I would rather go to the place, find out that it's closed, and leave in disappointment, then just make a 2-second phone call to find if they're open. Which, by the way, if it's Northern Scotland, spoiler alert, they're closed.
They're closed. But here's the thing. Also, sometimes it doesn't matter if you call because they won't answer anyway.
The pub we go to, it's just like, what time do they close? Whatever. If the light's on, they're there. If smoke's coming out of the chimney, they're probably there. Might not be. They'll close whenever they feel like it. And Ashley, we get in the car. We had the same conversation every time. First of all, you're 5 minutes late. Love you. 5 minutes late. I'm like outside waiting in the car.
You've got pulled halfway out the driveway.
You know that scene where they pick up Batman with the plane and it hooks on his suit and whoop, and he goes away in China? That's how we leave the house every time with Ashley.
I'm an eternal optimist. I assume that everything is going to go perfectly to schedule, to my schedule. I'm like, it'll take me this long to get ready.
Because you're not waiting on you. That's why it all goes well.
If everything goes to schedule, we'll leave it this time. And I trust that it will. It doesn't. But I'm an optimist that believes every single time that it's going to somehow anyway. That is changing.
Radical spin.
That is changing. And now it's like I give myself 10 minutes to get kids ready, but it takes 15 minutes to get kids ready.
I'm usually in the car with the kids, but I get it.
Not true. Not true. I'm running around. I'm packing snacks in the bags. I'm making sure they've got water bottles.
Let me go to my notes, which I have on my quick bar. Go to my tally.
Speaking of Apple.
But really quickly, before we go to the Apple stuff. So I'll be in the car. She'll get in the car, and I'll say, where are we going? And I'm driving. So I'll say, where are we going? And she says, we're going here. And I say, great. Can you call them and make sure they're open? She says the same thing every time. I looked them up on Google Maps. They have their hours. It says they're open. I go, but we know that they're not going to be open when we get there for some random reason. She goes, they're open. We get there. They're not open.
Well, look, also, can I point out that we have where we are next to no mobile service. So by the time I get in the car, asking me to call them is a moot point anyway, because I can't.
So while we're on the subject of Apple, we clarified this earlier this week, but we are now in the process of adding Apple Podcasts to our podcast distribution offering.
Made a little misspeak.
That was
in a previous episode last week. I know, but I'll just apologize again. We didn't catch it. We were like, we're moving to Apple Podcasts, and what we meant was we're adding Apple Podcasts. We're not leaving Spotify or anything.
Once again, I did say we're moving to Apple Podcasts as well. That as well did a lot of work in my head, but I realized that it's our job as professional broadcasters to communicate that properly. So we are adding Apple Podcasts. We have some pretty modest goals for this, just to share that. If you're not interested in behind-the-scenes stuff of the podcast, we'll see you next time, everybody. But our goals for Apple Podcasts are pretty simple. We would like to try to get in the new and noteworthy section, just so we can get broader, like it's Apple's marketing. It's not really clear how to do that. We have submitted an application to do it, so we will be going to Apple. We will be going to Apple on Tuesday. What's the date, Ash?
On Tuesday, the 30th of January, 2024.
Okay, so Tuesday, the 30th of January, we will be adding Apple Podcasts to our repertoire of distribution networks. What do you have to do? Nothing much. If you have Apple Podcasts or you have an iPhone, sign up for it there. So that will be Tuesday, January 30th. We will be coming to Apple Podcasts in addition to our ongoing presence on Spotify and our RSS feed, which goes pretty much then everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. So we will probably, as we make that launch, be a little bit more proactive about asking people to, drop a rating, make sure that you're following it, that kind of thing, because those really give us a boost in the algorithm for visibility so that people who don't know about the podcast yet have a better chance of finding it.
And Ashley, isn't that what this is all about, is becoming more discoverable? I want to say shout out too, because when we initially started working with the subreddit, I was kind of anxious about Reddit in general, but our subreddit's been absolutely amazing. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been supportive there. In the future, In addition to that, there will probably be other options for leaving comments on episodes and things, but we'll be investigating those as we go as well. Okay, so Tuesday, January 30th for Apple. That does it for us today. We will talk to you on Monday. We hope you'll be here as well. Bye.